Matt Canavan and Barnaby Joyce threatening to cross the floor this morning over a zero net emissions target by 2050. This has brought a bemused reaction at the senior levels of government, where sources are pointing out to me that A, Scott Morrison has not even made the commitment yet, and B, even if he does, just like with Kyoto, it won't require legislation. So how can you cross the floor? Well, let's hear Canavan from his interview with Kieran earlier and Barnaby Joyce on it this morning.
If we're going to get to net zero and meet it in any tangible way, there'll of course have to be laws passed, and I'm committed to being against this.
But where that legislation is, you'll cross the floor.
And so, yeah, absolutely, I'm dead set against this
on every occasion
commitment. Well, look, I can't forecast votes on stuff that I don't have in front of me. But if you're asking a flat-out question, yep, I'd vote against net zero emissions because it would cost hundreds of thousands of Australian jobs.
Are you willing to cross the floor in the House of Reps on this, Barnaby?
I'm willing to cross the floor on anything. I've done it, God knows, 28 times. So, you know, this idea of, are you willing? Well, the idiotic thing is if you said to people, are you never willing to cross the floor? Because if you're not, then just hand your proxy to the whip and don't bother turning up to the chamber. There's no point in you being there if you've never considered crossing the floor. Why on earth would you be elected as a member of parliament and then say, no matter what someone else says, I'm going to agree with it? I mean, how idiotic is that?
Barnaby Joyce has got a unique approach, hasn't he? My understanding is that the Nats Senate team, which are out of cabinet and feature former ministers Matt Canavan and Bridget McKenzie, are holding their own party room meetings separate to the Nationals party room. Barnaby Joyce is clearly onside in terms of this, and it promises to be a real challenge, this separate National Senate team for Scott Morrison and Michael McCormack. Kieran asked Matt Canavan about this. We'll play the full interview of this later.
We do, mate. As long as I've been a senator, which has only been for 6.5 years, the National Senate team has met every week that we sit in Canberra. We've continued to meet, through the last year. Look, I suppose what's changed though in the Senate is for the last year, there have not been any members of the National Senate team in the ministry or in the executive, with Bridget and I leaving. And that's no doubt freed us up, because when you're in the executive, you can't cross the floor.
So the rebel Senate Nats, it's almost like the Otis group for Nationals, isn't it? Here's Federal Environment Minister Susan Lee speaking to Ashley Gillen just moments ago on Sky, where she says they will meet the zero net emissions by 2050 target, taking the issue or the promise further than the PM.
You can see, yes, we are going to get there. The question is how we map it out and how we give people confidence.